This will be probably our last big hike of the trip, just because this is our last big weekend of the trip.
We just stopped at the visitor center to double check about some information because we had read that this is the place where there might be black bears. So the ranger said that they haven't seen any black bears lately, and I should have slipped him some money to tell Keith that there are tons of them there. I'm not really looking forward to this hike. It's much more difficult than the ones that we've done and longer, and I'm afraid of bears.
We heard from the ranger when we did the moonlight hike, or the full moon hike, that this is a really beautiful area that goes down through all the pine trees, and you've got a few hoodoos here and there, and it opens up into this big meadow, and she said it's just totally different than the main amphitheater area, so I'm really looking forward to it.
A lot of times when we are looking for trail information, you want to not only look at the visitor center information, but then a lot of times we will look up the trails on AllTrails, the AllTrails app. So I'm looking at the AllTrails app now, and it gives me some information. It tells me that it's an 8-mile, moderately trafficked loop trail, and the elevation gain is 2,972 feet. So usually there are 3 main things that we look for. And the first one is just how many miles is it? And then the second part is the elevation gain. That lets us know if it's how difficult it's going to be and if it's something that we're interested in. And then the third part is just if it is an out and back trail or if it's a loop trail. If we have those 3 pieces of information, that's a good start to decide if we want to do the trail and then what to expect. And then it does give reviews, so it's interesting to read the reviews because that's where we learned that part of it was washed out, was from reading the reviews, and then that way we could ask at the ranger station if there was anything that we needed to know. And usually when you read the reviews, then you're going to get the information that you need to be more successful at the trail. So maybe it's which direction to take, or if there's a place that, you know, to watch out for as far as where you might lose the trail, or, you know, not at a national park probably, but on some of the other trails that we've done, sometimes the information that you get from one place or another might be incorrect. So just reading those reviews can give you more information, the same as you would read reviews for products or restaurants, things like that. So it can give you some tips.
So we are on our way to adventure. Lindsay looks thrilled. Sure you want me to have the camera? So far the descent's been pretty gradual. You definitely know you're going downhill, but it's not like a steep trail by any means. We're less than a mile into the hike, probably not even a half mile, and it already feels like you're out in the middle of nowhere. We probably won't see any other hikers today. And today we're really lucky to be down in this canyon because it is super windy up top and cold.
Look how fast that cloud's moving. You see it?
Yes, hopefully you can see how fast the cloud's moving up above. And there's a significant, probably a good 20-mile-an-hour wind, sustained wind. And we're blocked from the majority of it. We catch a breeze every once in a while, like right now. But most of the time it's been pretty nice. And We're deep in the heart of the ponderosa pine forest, and it's incredible the size of some of these. I've seen lots of pine trees in my life back in Indiana and stuff, but not this big and tall and just beautiful. They've got like a deep red bark and then some blackened areas where the bark's kind of dying off. You can see some burn scars on several of them from the various fires that have come through the area. And it's kind of a very interesting hike back here. You know, you've got all the standard, not standard, the beautiful hoodoos and stuff up in the amphitheater area of Bryce, kind of towards the front, and you've got fairyland in the very front of Bryce, which is out of this world. I mean, just all these giant limestone and sandstone sculptures, and kind of feel like you're out in the middle of the desert somewhat as you're hiking. And then you get here, and it feels like you're in the middle of a forest, because you are. So it's just quite a difference, and really worth the time to work your way back to the back end of the park and spend some time, really exploring everything that Bryce has to offer. Bryce is absolutely incredible, and highly recommend that you take some time to explore it if you ever come out this way. It's, like I said, it's more than just the little tiny spot that everybody knows, which is the hoodoos. It's just a beautiful park all around. Really enjoyable. Well, we finally reached one of our main destinations, the Riggs Springs campground. So as we go back, we'll be ascending a long way back up, because we have been walking downhill almost the entire time. There's been a couple spots where we went back up, but it'll be a much shorter distance hike, but much harder. So we're going to take a little break here, grab a bite to eat, and then we will be probably heading out shortly after. Lindsay's taking a test drive of the hiking poles, and they seem to be really helping. She's moving along quite quickly and making me get out of breath, which isn't a bad thing. But I personally love trekking poles. Some people don't like them. Some people think that they are cheater sticks, and some people just think you look funny using them. But man, when you get on a long hike and your legs get tired, it's nice to be able to offload some of that work and let your upper body kind of help you along the way, especially when you're on long ascents. Makes a big difference. And we got to go up all the way to the top of that. No, folks, this is not slow-mo. It's just really steep.
Sloth hiking, I've called it.
So we've been ascending up for probably about 1.5 miles from Riggs Springs campground. We've gained some serious elevation along the way, which I can feel in my lungs and my legs. But the view is absolutely spectacular. I mean, just look at this. This is why you do it, why you put in all the work and all the effort and the time to actually get out here and see the more remote parts of the park. Or
you do it because your husband makes you.
Well, that too. So as we're walking around the Uvimpa Pass campground area, you can see the destructive nature of fire. All around us you can see remnants from a major fire that came through the area. Just taking this time to do a little PSA about forest safety and forest fire. So, fire is definitely destructive and something you got to really manage, but it's also part of the regenerative growth cycle of the forest. So, without fire, you won't have an opportunity for some of the new trees to grow in and replace some of the older dying trees. So, it's part of the life cycle of the area. But, anytime you're camping out here in the backcountry, you want to make sure you always put out your fires. Before you have a fire, you want to make sure that you're allowed to, so check with the local park rangers. Make sure there's not a fire ban or high fire danger. And just, be careful and make sure, any little bit of smoldering can lead to a rekindle, especially if you pick up a large wind and it blows some little cinders into some very dry grass. It doesn't take much.